is going on? Happy Saturday to everyone out there. Hope you're having a great Saturday. I was happy to see the sun out here in Cali. I'll let you know that for a fact. It's been so cloudy out here, raining. Just got back from seeing Shazam. What a great movie. I just gotta say that. What a great movie. Um, just wanted to jump on here, do my first live. I've been wanting to go live for a while now. I was able to get, my little setup going, my laptop. I upgraded a little bit. I got a little microphone now, different things like that. I seen that StreamYard be, charging for what before I should have went live before they weren't charging for so much. But hey, that doesn't matter. Once I get in the rhythm of it, I'm gonna be able to do more. But for now, we take what we can and we make it work. That's how it always been for any culture out there. So I'm not gonna be any different. So today we talking about Benavides and Plant, Javante Davis, Tank Davis, and Ryan Garcia. And we're also talking about Fulton and Inuit. I can never say his name. The monster. I'm gonna just call him the monster because I don't want to sound ridiculous on here. Innuendo. Man, the monster. All right, the other monster, not the Mexican monster, the Japanese monster. And then we're also gonna talk to Fimo and Josh Taylor. That's another fight coming up. I mean, just to start off, just to break the ice, just to do my thing out here. Shout out to everybody listening. If you do catch this later, I know there's a couple other people live. I was on Ring IQ live right now. I was watching him. Great channel as well. I'm always on Showbiz, the adult live, great boxing channel. I feel like those are the channels that push boxing first. They give you the information you need. I want to be one of those channels. I don't want to be one of those narrative pushing channels that just wants to make money off of their followers by telling lies, because casual people that don't watch boxing, because it is not the number one sport at the moment, but I personally want to make it the number one sport. So that's why trying to get into these lives, trying to get on different panels. It's been a while. I've never gone live. This is my first one, but like I said, I've been wanting to. So here I am. I'm ready to go. So let's jump into it right away. We're going to talk about Caleb Plant and Benavides. I wish I could put up the poster, but I mean, it's weird. You can't just upload photos. You have to pay up subscription, or you can't do a lot of things that I remember it being able to do it before without being charged. But like I said, Benavides and Plant, that's the first fight. That's March 25th. If you're not watching it, make sure to keep your eyes peeled on that one. That's gonna be a banger. We're also, I believe, Oscar Valdez is also on the undercard of that, so that's gonna be good. So I don't really have, I don't really have a fighter in this fight. I mean, Benavides, I have followed him. I got to meet him actually at the Fulton versus Figueroa fight that was in Carson. I got to meet him there. Great guy. Always in good spirits. I wish I was able to interview him at that time. I didn't. He was just, chilling with his fam. He had his wife there. It just he really cool, down to earth guy. I just, like I said, I'm not saying that I don't like Benavides, not at all. I feel like he's a great fighter. I feel like he has a lot of potential and always has. I just don't like the way they matched him up, or they have been matching him up. As far as him as a person, great guy. I mean, he's just done a lot of things that I feel haven't shown me he's been disciplined his whole career. And maybe that's why I'm kind of iffy at this moment. I mean, Caleb Plant, after losing to Canelo, and we've seen it in Canelo Alvarez where he lost to Mayweather, how he became a different fighter. He became someone like that. Loss really helped him in a sense because he became more dynamic. He started doing different stuff and dominating competition. We can't say that about David Benavides because we've never seen him up against a big tough challenge. His last fight was up against a fighter who was, I mean, technically on his way out in Lemieux. He's been fighting for a long time, and that wasn't even the division. He moved up, I think, from 160 to 168. So we haven't really seen him be pushed to the limit. We haven't really seen him get pushed, get the best brought out of him, because if in any fight, boxing or mixed martial arts, there's certain fighters that push you to the limit and make you dig deep. And I feel like this is gonna be the fight. This is gonna be the fight for Caleb Plant to get that out of Benavides, and maybe we might see something we've never seen before. Because when it comes to boxing, when you start fighting tougher competition and you move up, and we've seen it with a lot of people. There was a fight versus Villa and Ellis where everyone expected Villa to lose, and he won. You know, now it just seems like that's the pattern when certain fighters that have been fighting for a while don't get matched up correctly. They either stay at a weight limit for too long and they can't make weight, and then when they move up, they start facing tougher opponents, and then they get taken out. Or it just fighters start asking for more money than they're worth, and then they get put in these difficult fights and then get knocked out, or upsets happen with a bunch of journeymen. But I feel like it just goes to show that you have to move a fighter in the right direction and give them the right task at the right moment. And it seems like Benavides hasn't been, put out there with the Charlos, or I mean, not even with the Charlo, like just a tough opponent. I feel like Charlo could have moved up as well and fought him at 168, but Benavides has been at 168 for so long. I think he started his career. Um, he's been there for the longest, and I don't understand how he didn't unify or become undisputed. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. And then when you see Canelo, he went up to that division, cleaned it out, went up against every champion, and just became undisputed. I didn't understand why David Benavides didn't do this. I mean, the way I guess his promoter and dad uh, put him out there and the way they made him work, maybe that's why he didn't take that opportunity. He is on the PBC, and the PBC doesn't do a lot of business with a lot of people, it seems like, or they make it hard. Look at this Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis fight. We'll get into that, but this Plant and Caleb Plant and the Benavides fight is going to be a great fight. It's going to be next weekend. I can't wait. I mean, you definitely need to go check that out if you're not watching it. It's gonna be a pay-per-view, and I always say, make sure you pay for your pay-per-views, because boxing, it's one of those sports that doesn't get a lot of people who just want to watch a boxing match, whether it be low weights to high weights. It seems like a lot of people, if you're not in the UK or somewhere else in Europe, it's not getting that much, press, or I don't see it um like announced a lot. It's not one of those sports that's always out there. And when it is announced, it makes me happy because I love boxing. I want it to be the number one sport, but it just takes time. And when fighters aren't fighting better challenge and going for greatness, then I feel like it takes away from the sport. And a lot of people like Benavides who haven't been fighting top competition, they get their resumes picked at, or they start saying like, "Hey, why haven't you fought this guy?" Or, "Hey, what's going on with this?" And fans aren't, they're starting to get fed up with it. They're starting to get fed up with it because it's time now for fighters to prove themselves. And what better way to prove yourself than fighting tough competition? So that's the test for Benavides at this moment, for him to go in there and hopefully show why, you know, Mike Tyson named him the Mexican Monster. Why his name is, you know, one of the ones to be feared at 168. And in the case of it now, you can't say that. So maybe Caleb Plant will bring out the greatest version of Benavides that we haven't seen. But on the opposite end, I feel like Caleb Plant is a great fighter. His gas tank is a little bit, iffy when it comes down, but he added another person to his team that's been working with him. I have him on my intro. He had one of the knockout of the year in my opinion. So with that said, I definitely want to see what Caleb Plant brings to the table after losing, because like I said, When you lose in the sport of boxing, it can do one or two things. One or two things. It could either make you greater because you learn from your mistake, or you can just stay stuck on that mistake forever and not grow from it. You can be one of those fighters who just like, I didn't take that out. The judges were wrong. My damn shoes weren't right. My gloves didn't fit that night. I got this. I got that. You can make up so many excuses, but the truth about it is, why not just take the L and say that person was a better person and move on and get better and get back at it? Because that's what it is, man. At the end of the day, you have to admit to yourself that you lost and you're able to build from that loss. Because once your O goes, that's it. You're not an undefeated fighter no more. But are you going to continue to whine about it? Just be drugged through the mud and say, you know what, that man cheated, that man did this, that man. It's unnecessary, in my opinion. It's unnecessary. So I see that Caleb Plant didn't do that. He took his L in strive. He waited, came back, got an awesome win against Darrell. Now it's time for him to show why that L that he took against Canelo has made him better, has made him a better fighter, has made him more of a threat at 168. Because at the end of the day, you can say what you want about the man, how he lost to Canelo or whatnot, but he still only has one loss on his record. He's I believe 22 and 1. So with that said, you have to give him his props, cuz up until you hit, like I said, a good competition or someone in that level, then you're not able to know how great you can be. You know, you're not able to really grasp how good you can be in the boxing world. And I feel like Caleb Plant has learned that or is going to learn that. So I'm really, really excited to see how he pushes Benavides to the limit. What is he gonna do? Is he gonna make him, make him work for everything? Is he gonna stay outside the pocket? Is he gonna, do the whole Bevo, what he did to Zerto, how he kept him at bay with stunning him with punches as he was coming in? Is he gonna switch angles on him? We all know that Benavides is a very flat-footed fighter. If you don't know, he is. He stands there and he loves to throw those power punches, great combination and fast hands. Now that could be something that Caleb Plant could take advantage of. Cause we all know, well, I mean, not I always say we all know, but those of us who love boxing can see Caleb Plant knows how to switch it up. Moves a lot, likes to throw his jab out there, combinations. But he's not a pressure fighter. Benavides is, and sometimes pressure fighters that get to you, and you know how what they say, pressure bust pipes, makes diamonds. So if he's able to, stay in there and keep him off him for a while and make sure that he keeps that jab out, I think he can win this fight, honestly. I don't know who's gonna win it. I don't want to say that he's gonna win it and put my money out on him. I need to put some money out on somebody though, because this is gonna be one of those fights that I'm telling you, it's gonna be either one of the best fights of the year or the knockout of the year. Something's gonna happen in this fight. I can feel it. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. But I'm just glad to be going live right now. Honestly, I feel like it's been a while that I've been wanting to do it, build up a little more on it. Finally got certain things in place, you know that I've been wanting to do. So hey, I'm here now. I'm here right now. So let's go. Let's move on to the next one. Like I said, I'll be able to put up the picture. Like, here we go. Let's talk about this fight. But yet again, I have to get everything set up. I gotta start paying for this. And I mean, this is my first live, so I mean, I gotta just build. Like I said, build from this and continue to move forward. I'm only gonna try to do like 30 minutes today, if that, if I'm able to go through that. If not, I just want to, like I said, have some kind of building my foundation from here on. So let's get into the Tank and Ryan Garcia. So the Tank and Ryan Garcia, I didn't even tell you who I wanted to win. So I don't really know who I want to win from between Plant and I just want to see a great fight. So that's what I'm excited for. Don't miss it. March 25th is going to be a great fight. I think I'm going to be watching John Wick at that time. Ooh, I can't wait for that either. You know, um And I got the Kings game that it's gonna be a good weekend. It's gonna be a good weekend. We got a bunch of fights. We got Caleb Plant, and we got other things happening. But let's get into this Tank and Ryan Garcia fight. Now this Tank and Ryan Garcia, wow, this one is very surprising because it's a super fight. They call it a super fight. This super fight always, when I think of that in boxing, I think of champion versus champion, or I think of undisputed. I think of, those are big fights for me. Those are star fights. Those are fights that when people see them on paper, they're like, hey, this is going to be an amazing fight. We got two champions going at it, two belts or three belts, four belts, whatever it is. But they're calling it a super fight, but not having any belts in this fight. They just have a big social media following. I mean, Tank Davis, I mean, we go back to talking about him going up against opposition that isn't very tough. I mean, Rolly Romero, Isaac Cruz. These are fighters that haven't been proven at the weight class, but yet he beat them, and he's calling them he's saying that these people aren't really gonna really up to the level. That's what it is at the end of the day, up to the level. And how I haven't seen him fight anybody that's up to that task. Even Ryan Garcia either. He's another fighter that I don't see him fighting great competition or great opponents. That's where it's at. So I don't understand why this is be called a super fight, other than because of the fact that they have a social media following. Everyone knows Tank Davis from his antics outside of the ring. They already know. Um, also Ryan Garcia from his outside the ring TikTok or Instagram followers. There's a lot of things that they know about him outside of the ring. That's why I feel like it's considered a big fight. That's why it's considered um a super fight. You know, because other than that, there's no real titles involved. Nobody's really gonna be, other than getting their own. No one's really gonna be losing or winning anything other than saying bragging rights. You know, I feel like Tank Davis has a belt, but it's a secondary belt. I feel like Ryan Garcia should have a belt. He was able to go against Devin Haney after fighting Jojo Diaz, but he pulled out of that fight, and or because of his mental illness that he said he had, his depression. So I don't really see, and Ryan always says the belts don't matter. So after this fight, who is he gonna fight if he wins? Is he gonna go up against tougher challenges? He's gonna take on a Devin Haney, a Shakur, maybe someone like that. That those boys are moving up soon. I feel like Devin Haney only has a couple more fights, or maybe this last fight with Loma before he moves up to 140. So these are all ideas for either Ryan or Tank if they're going to say that they are the top level fighter, if they are a pound for pound fighter. And I feel like they need to win fights like this and continue to build from that. Tank can't go from Ryan Garcia winning and then go back to a Rolly Romero, or Ryan Garcia and then after go back to a Isaac Cruz. you know, you can't do that. That's something that the fans will not take. And that's something that the you can't do that to everybody, because it just hurts the sport. That's what's been hurting the sport for a while now, which has been, you fight low competition but want millions of dollars, or you fight one fight and don't fight in 2 years, 1 year. The layoff is so crazy nowadays. You got fighters only fighting once a year, and these are mostly fighters on the PBC side. This is not me hating on that side, it's just the truth. I mean, there's a lot of fighters also that don't take the opportunity to become undisputed or win two championships on 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 a weight division, or don't want to. Right now we got the Errol Spence and Crawford fight that hasn't happened for how long now? Or now we got an Usyk and Fury fight that doesn't seem to be happening because Fury just keeps putting his antics and putting a bunch of um different different things in the contract, just to say that he's the one that wants to fight and Usyk doesn't want to agree. Usyk has agreed to everything from 70-30 to, I mean, moving it to the UK. These are all big facts that he's agreed upon. But everyone just seems to take whatever Fury wants cuz he's the egg side apparently, which makes no sense to me, but this is boxing like I said. Boxing is one of those sports that it's just so much politics that it gets in the way from real fights happening, real fans to get involved because all of it is just a bunch of politics, So with the Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis fight, this is another fight that I don't know who's gonna win. I don't really have a horse in the race either. I mean, I love boxing. I love watching boxing because of the upsets, because of the knockouts. I love watching, the sweet science. So as long as it's a good fight, as long as both fighters get in there, um, as long as those fighters go in there healthy and 100%, they both want to trade and have that fight that fans want. Have that all-star fight where, hey, this we need a second one. We need a part two of Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. I know they don't have rematch calls in it, but it would still be great to see if it's that good. See another one. We've seen Marquez and Manny Pacquiao how many times now? We've seen, it was I think a four it wasn't even a trilogy, it was four, like, or there's a couple. There was another fight that I, as a young lad, I would watch all the time, and that was Barrera versus can't remember his name. Barrera versus Morales. Those fights were amazing. These two warriors went at it, and gave it their all their heart out there. They just poured it out back and forth. Now, if it's one of those fights, man, I would be excited and happy just because it's gonna get more eyes on the sport, and that's what's just really about at the end of the day. Boxing is one of those, in a lot of people's opinion, dying sport. No one wants to watch it. They say it's boring. You got fighters that don't want to fight each other. You got prospects who wants to be paid like older fighters that have been in the game for longer. Like, no one wants to pay their dues. Everyone wants to take shortcuts, and that's the problem with not only boxing but a lot of people in life. And I hope that this isn't one of those fights. I hope that they take it upon themselves to make sure that they go out there, give it their all, and give the fans what they want. Ryan Garcia is always preaching about how much he loves the fans, how much he wants he's doing this fight for the fans, but it just seems like he wants the biggest payday. I mean, he was talking about retiring at 22 or 23. Like, that's ridiculous. No one in the sport of boxing wants to see Ryan win this fight and then retire. Who the hell wants to see that? Everybody wants to see this kid grow into a great fighter and retire when he needs to, just like every other boxer. I don't expect everyone to stay in the sport for longer than they need to. Canelo is growing as well. He's one of those fighters that's been in the game for so long. Now that he is going down, now that he is, had an injury recently. He just got an operation. He's coming back, about to face Ryder. We want to see the best out of Canelo, but am I going to be mad about him fighting the mandatory? Mandatories are part of the sport. Everyone fights mandatories from heavyweight to featherweight. Everyone has to go to fight a mandatory. So if Ryan can stick with it, beat Tank Davis, and then go on and try to fight someone else like a Tio at 140, maybe even a Prograis, someone like that with top competition, you know, then I will continue to push for him to be one of those stars in boxing. Because I mean, for right now, I feel like there was. I remember when the Four Kings thing got brought up. I did not see Ryan like that because of, and this is not me bagging on his mental health or whatnot, because God knows that it hurts. It's crazy to go through, and I'm not putting any kind of, putting that down. But in the sport of boxing, you got to be tough mentally and physically, and if one of those are lacking, you will get destroyed by these wolves in this sport because there's no sensitivity for this for you. You know, other fighters were bagging on them, talking shit, and that's what it is at the end of the day. When fighters go up against fighters, call each other bums, ducks, whatever, that's fine. But when you got people out here on YouTube in the community calling them different names when they never even stepped foot in the ring, done anything in the sort, or even know how dangerous it is, then it becomes a problem. And I feel like as long as fighters are doing it, more power to you. So when fighters were dogging out Garcia, and even me, I mean, I took a couple of shots at him because I was upset. I was upset that I wanted to see a Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight. After all the jibber jabber, I still want to see that fight. I still want to see a Teofimo and Devin Haney fight. You know, I want to see those fights not only because as a fan, but also for the sport of boxing. The sport of boxing needs these fights, just like they need a Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence fight, just like they need a Fury fight and Usyk. These are all fights the sports need, that the boxing needs, and a lot of people are putting politics first, and that's why it's hurting the sport. I mean, UFC is a great sport. I watch it here and there, but that's one of the sports that I feel like always the best take on the best, no questions asked. If you're a champ and I'm a champ, we're gonna go at it. There's no other side of the street because there's only one promotional company. And in boxing, it's not like that. You got 4 to 5 promotional companies, then they got different TV deals, and then those people have other connections, and it just trickled down so far where it seems like everyone's got their hand in the cookie jar, and everyone wants the most money, and then it becomes a problem with matchups. Like, look how long this Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, for example, how long that fight took. You know, from rehydration clause to money to rematches, all these things needed to put in, and who was going to broadcast it? Because both of these boys are from different companies. We got Tank from PBC, we got Ryan Garcia from Golden Boy. Like, no one wanted to take less money. No one wanted to be the B side. You know, everyone wanted to be the A side, but guess what? Ryan Garcia took it upon himself to say, "I'll accept this, I'll accept that. Let's just make the fight." That's what's giving me hope for this fight to also be a candidate for fight of the year. I said it with Benavidez and Caleb Plant. I hope that fight is a banger, and this one too. As far as choosing who's gonna win, I mean, it's up in the air. Ryan Garcia is so fast. He has lightning speed, and Tank just has that power. He be walking people down. So it's very tough. We're gonna see if the pressure really gets to Ryan or if he could keep Tank off of him with the power. That's really where it's at. At the end of the day, I just want to see a great fight. I want to see these boys go at it. Make sure they get maybe even 2 fights in there if it's that good. We got a trilogy that I never wanted to see, and the Fury and Wilder, but we got that. That was something we got. So maybe we can get this to be, a two-peat, three-peat, whatever, as long as it's good. These young boys are, they're young in the sport, so they're up and coming. Would love to see it. Now, let's go in for the Fulton and the monster, the Japanese monster, and I can never say his name. I'm gonna just keep it as Japanese monster. This is a great fight because I feel like Fulton, coming from the PBC, has been one of those fighters that is taking it to the next level by chasing greatness. What do I mean by chasing greatness? He is part of a company that they said it before, in-house fights only. That's Tank Davis versus in-house fighters. That's all he's been fighting. You got other people from the same platform that also been just fighting in-house fighters, nothing else. And I feel like with this said, Fulton is traveling to Japan and fighting a fighter who's moving up, who just became undisputed at one weight class and is moving up to another weight class in order to take a great challenge, a big challenge. And that's what we need to see in the sport of boxing. More people not scared of taking challenges because at the end of the day, you have to be great, and in order to be great you have to go overseas. You have to fight in England or Australia. These are all in Japan. These are all places where boxing is coming up, and it's not a dying sport there. It's just coming up, and it feels like more people want to watch this sport. So that's where it's at. You can't take away from that, and I wouldn't want anyone to take away from that. So Fulton chasing greatness, that's where it's at. That's where it needs to be. And at the end of the day, you never know what could happen out there. If he gets a win against a top competitor in the monster, what makes you think that this fight cannot segue to bigger fights and just moving up in level and competition? These are all great things for the sport. Why wouldn't you want that? So I am so happy that Fulton is going to Japan, strapping on his boots, taking on the challenge, and giving it all he got. Because at the end of the day, once you chase greatness like this, you make the sports better. You make boxing better, and that's where it's at. Make boxing better. And for the monster, Japanese monster, and uh I've been just amazed with his career, man. I've honestly been amazed how he's been able to dominate so much competition, so much so many people he's knocked out. I mean, I remember him going against Nonito Donaire in the Super Series. It was a boxing tournament, if you don't know. And that fight, to me, I watched it live, and I cannot believe how much that fight was so good with an older fighter. It was so good in the sense that he him to the limit, pushed him to the limit, and that's what you want to see in any in boxing match. So I see more. I see Innuendo coming out and just putting together his plan the way he does. He's very good at cutting off the ring. He's very good at pressuring fighters, and he also knows how to keep. Also know when to pick his spots, and he's a great finisher. So if he has Fulton hurt, he's gonna want to finish him, and he's gonna want to finish him, there and then. Now, if he weathers the storm and he's able to not go down and not be not be pressured, Fulton could take this. He's a bigger guy. He's been at the weight class for longer, and he is a champion. And he's a technician, man. He has great hands, great speed, and he knows what to do with it. With that said, this is another, in my opinion, a candidate for a fight of the year. And this could probably get done, 2 or 3 times. Who knows? But as long as they give the people what they want, and what do the people want to see? Great fights, great fighters fighting great fighters. And if we don't get that, then that's when the sports lacks, man. That's when we see other people like UFC fans dog us out, talk smack about us. And what could you say? I mean, what could you really say at the end of the day? Their fight, the boxing community, everyone out here is either pushing for fights or making excuses for fighters. And that can't be it, man. That can't be boxing now. We have to really take it upon ourselves to be like, yo, fighters need to fight. Good fighters need to fight good fighters. If you're prospects, make sure to move them like prospects. But you're not gonna be a Jaime Munguia already deep into your 40, almost 40 wins, and you still haven't fought for a championship. You still haven't fought tough opponents, because then ends up happening is you do move up and you do fight those opponents, and then you get exposed. What I mean by exposed, you don't have the right equipment to move up that level. Cause why? You haven't fought the right opponents. And I am completely fine with moving a prospect the way he needs to. But when you have prospects wanting to make that Jake Paul money, then it becomes a problem, because Jake Paul didn't come into boxing. He wasn't a boxer and build up. He had he was a Nickelodeon star. He was somewhere else, a Disney star. He was doing his thing on YouTube, and then came into boxing. That's where the millions and millions of dollars came from. So fighters really need to take that upon themselves and build a career on what they're doing now. taking on the tough opponents, moving up, um, promoting themselves on social media. Social media is crazy right now. You know, everyone, you can post all kinds of things on social media and get a big social media following. So I feel like this is where boxing needs to be. And I mean, I'm gonna continue to do my lives. I hope this is my first one. I hope to, get more people on here. Hope to chop it up with more people, have people on. But as far as it goes, like I said, this is my first live. I'm gonna end it right here. I did want to go into Fury and Usyk, but it doesn't seem like that fight's gonna happen either. Fury keeps pushing all these, different, different, like, it's just so weird. He just makes it so hard. He wants everything to be his way, and that's it. Usyk is not a tough opponent to make a deal with. He agreed to the 70-30. He agreed to no rematch clause. He agreed to this. He agreed to that. And it seems like Fury's camp just keeps putting more and more into it. So I don't think this fight is going to happen like the Errol Spence and Crawford fight, but only time will tell. So I'm hoping for it. But if it doesn't end up happening, then I guess boxing will be hurt yet again. Boxing will not be able to move forward yet again. Fights that we want will not happen yet again. So I'm signing out now. Yeah, have a good night. I said I was going to talk about Shazam. If you have a chance to see Shazam, I want my family. My kids loved it. My girl loved it. It was one of those movies that I feel is going to build up from here, and it's going to be great for the DC series. I want to see where they take it, and I want to see how it goes from here on in. They got James Gunn on their side now, so it's a great way to it's a great segue to see what's to come. It had so much action, it had everything. I don't want to spoil anything. Make sure you go watch it if you do get a chance. And remember, March 25th coming up, April 22nd also coming up. We got Benavides, Caleb Plant, the 25th of March, and then we got April. We got Tank versus Ryan Garcia. So make sure to look out for those. I'll be back with another live soon. I went today for about 40 minutes, so I'm gonna keep trying to push it. Keep trying to talk different subjects. I wish I could pop up more stuff on the actual screen where I could show, but I'm gonna get that too. It's gonna, like I said, just with time, build up. To do my thing. So shout out to everybody. Much love to y'all. I'm gonna leave you with the intro. This intro, I just recently did it. I'm gonna be putting a lot of my videos. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment, and I'll catch you on the next live, man. Much love. Stay up and take care of yourselves.